Hey guys, it's me Tiffany and welcome back to my channel. So I'm sorry if you hear construction work or my new kitten making a lot of noise in the background. It is daytime and I wanted to do this when nobody was home except for me. And I kind of had to pick a struggle of noise of other people and possibly construction and, kittens are hyper. So I'm not feeling well, but I wanted to do a video, and I've seen other people go on Goodreads and read 1-star reviews of books they like and whatnot, and I was trying to think of a classic or a series, like a classic series that I would like to do, so I decided to do The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I didn't realize The Hobbit was published in 2 books, so I believe this is the one combined together like the one I read. I guess I just never noticed because the one I read was just called The Hobbit. And I knew that the Lord of the Rings trilogy was supposed to be 1 book, but they divided into thirds. So it doesn't surprise me, but I did not know. So here we go. I am reading 1-star reviews of The Hobbit first because that's what makes sense. I went ahead and did the filtration thing, but I haven't read through any of these. So let's see how that goes. Look at the bookshelf of this one. Pretentious assholes who are too stupid to see how right-wing this book is. Ooh, this one's gonna be political. Okay, this one's a little longer. The only Tolkien book I have ever read, and it
guarantees it'll stay that way. That's right. I am one of 5 people on this planet who didn't pretend to have read Lord of the Rings trilogy after the movies came out.
And that's using the term loosely. They weren't really movies, they're more like protracted fantasies for stoner geeks and those who would otherwise be making B-horror film remakes. My generation's concept of franchises apparently only extends to Steven Seagal movies. But I digress. The Hobbit is plotting, ponderous, pretentious, and yes, perfectionatory. Sorry if I say that word wrong. Even the people I know who truly read those god-awful books will all say that Hobbit was the weakest of the lot. Personally, I don't trust them. I think they're trying to trick me into reading one of the others, so I finally realized how useless reading really is. Okay, I'm trying not to get annoyed here, but I mean, these books were not written modern day, so if they do seem very right-winged, they were written in a completely different time. If you read the Hallelujah Tolkien chorus lately and have encouraged to read the book that inspired the newly released movie, don't do it. Your friends are lying when they say this is worth reading. The only reason I read this was because I needed a fantasy book for young adult literature class, and my fantasy reading friends sang praises of this book, especially when the movie had just came out. I started reading a few years ago and put it down, but after hearing all the hype, I picked it up again and decided to give it a second chance. That chance, my friend, was its last chance. I love to read. I will forgo just about anything to lose myself in a good book. But this book had me looking for other things to do instead of reading. I don't care about the abuse I receive, and no doubt will keep receiving to the 6 other people out there who hated it. You are not alone. When I say that this is the most monotonous, long-winded, unnecessary descriptive books I've ever read, I understand that Lord of the Rings series is better, but this has killed my willingness to read anything else by Tolkien. Now I'm going to find some decent literature. Which, I mean, I do agree that Tolkien's writing style is definitely, not necessarily more old school. I mean, it kind of is, but he does write more dry. Fellowship of the Ring. I was tempted to almost do they have the edition with all 3 books, and that has a lot of reviews as well. I'm sure a lot of people buy the book as one big book, but I decided I kind of wanted to do reviews separately, so here we are.
I give up. I fucking give up.
After 4 weeks of struggling through this book, I've decided life is too short. How it ever became a beloved classic is beyond me. I'm sorry. I tried so hard. I trudged through the pages, laden with Tolkien's flowery prose and bogged down in descriptions and details. It was painful. Very painful. This book is among the most tedious books I have had the misfortune to read. The only way I can see that people enjoy is what they saw in the Hollywood blockbuster by Peter Jackson. When people see Elijah Wood and Orlando Bloom, they feel they must read the book to fully understand the boring intricacies in order to be wise. If you're planning on reading this book, do not waste your time. There are long areas of exposition that you will glaze over, and the rest of the series relies on your assumed knowledge of these chapters. That wasn't as hated as I thought it would be. Why must you do this?
Why are you so hyper?
Baby, we don't get on desk, okay? You don't see your brothers on desk, so you don't get on desk. Terrorist operation fails, and accordingly to the crack assassination and sabotage squad, ASS to recall, enacts Plan B by splitting into separate cells in order to infiltrate neutral governmental organizations and therefore corrupt them towards a general sabotage plot.
Okay.
The more I read this series, the more I feel like I never want to pick up a book again. The Hobbit was great, but it had boring parts. The first book in the series was okay, but disappointing. This book is completely disappointing and beyond boring. I could not finish the book. I got over halfway and I just wanted to go to sleep because I'm both bored at the book and annoyed at myself for continuously attempting to read it. It's such a boring book. I refuse to torture myself with boredom much longer. My beef with this book is obviously the same as the one with Fellowship of the Ring. I found it to be badly written, plotted dull, and going at specifics of some made-up language or culture is just dragging, as far as I'm concerned, beyond necessary. I try to preserve for the sake of completing the whole thing, but I gave up after this one and never got to the third novel. Bad all around. I just watched the movie, which has the benefit of being eye candy. The book is good. It is good the way the Beatles were good. They were actually quite low quality, but at their time they were unique and inspired many. So this person woke up and chose violence. That's what you're telling me, right? Return of the King! We are almost done. I'm sure glad Stevie didn't bother to read this one. Sam and Frodo wake up in some swamp, heath, mountain pass. Frodo, we're lost. Oh, it is awful. I'm hungry. We only have 3 pieces of elfin bread left. Sam, don't worry, Frodo. I'm here for you. You have the bread. Sam and Frodo walk around, looking a bit dirty, lost and miserable. Frodo, oh, the ring is so heavy. How will I cope? Sam, don't worry. You have a nice sleep. Things will look better in the morning. You'll see. Sam and Frodo wake up. Oh, it's awful.
For 200 god-awful pages!
Anyone who wasn't desperately hoping that Gollum would crack open Frodo's skull like a pumpkin after Halloween and drain gray goo inside it has more patience than me. Every minute hurt like hell. It was like walking through fire, slow, painful, and I thought this torture would never end. What a terrible way to end the book. How come there are around 600 pages or so following the climax? I read the first book years ago, back when I was in high school, and thought it was terribly compared to the movie. Then I read the book and realized it's actually not me. Actually, it still is, but my taste has not changed. It's Tolkien. He's so boring. Someone brought up an interesting comment in a recent Reddit thread about how the 3rd book of Game of Thrones is longer than all 3 Lord of the Rings books combined, and guess what? That one book is better than all 3 Lord of the Rings books. How could the movies be so much better than these books? How? I think it's because they cut out a lot of the traveling, to be honest. There's the guy who brought up the Beatles analogy again. Is he just gonna, put this on all the books? I didn't see him on the other 2. Okay, guys, that is it. So I will see you guys later. I hope you enjoy this. Hopefully next time I do something like this, if I decide to do it again, I can do it in a better setting. I just didn't feel good, so here we are. See you later.